exists on the screen.
We saw a renaissance of filmmaking through the 70s through the 90s. And we saw that the restrictions were, at first, were, very lax. It allowed filmmakers to do what they can. And then suddenly, because I'll tell you, because they say, well, you have certain people that, small groups that say, well, we can't have this.
Nice hobby that you have. It's a little bit sexist, don't you think? Maybe you better let us in to fix it.
And then government leaders out there saying, well, this is the reason why we have problems in the world. So they decide to give us more ratings. When I was growing up, we had G, PG, R, and yeah, we had an X rating out there. Very rarely used unless it was a porn movie or a controversial film. Believe it or not, some films to this day still carry an X rating of regular films on there from the past, that they've never really been changed. Why? Who knows? And then they started to do it to television. And then they started really wailing into it. Oh, this has smoking in it. This may have some nudity in it. There might be some subject matters you might not agree. Someone might be having an ice cream cone that you might not like. See, this is why I keep saying we need to abolish the MPAA. Because basically we've run back into a Hays Code 2.0. You've seen the bullshit that's coming out of Hollywood. You've seen it with the Lord of the... I don't even call it Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Nothing. We didn't cover it because it's all bullshit. Why should I cover something that basically, I shouldn't give the time of day to Amazon. Amazon's going to burn themselves through. The stuff that does work, Top Gun, Minions, Spider-Man, people push off. They try to push off, but they're still making money. Top Gun and Spider-Man was still out, the last couple of weeks, and it's still making money. But meanwhile, they're pushing stuff heavily like the Woman King, which is supposed to be about an African tribe run by a woman. But if you go in depth to the history of this tribe, and people like, the director says, I never heard of this before, and she's proud and all that. But note that the tribe that they're depicting is the tribe that enslaved many Africans and sold them to slave traders. But that's not going to be in the movie. 100%. That's not going to be in the film. And then, you get controversial stuff like Cuties also, which basically, that should see the light of day. I'm not in for the censorship of anything, but when it comes down to something of that nature, where you're using 10-year-old children to gyrate and on camera and all that, and you're saying, well, we're trying to make a message. Do it with older girls, and you can cast older girls in that role, because there are a lot of older girls in the 18 to 21 category that still looks fairly young and can pass for that age group. Or you could have not shot the scene and just literally shown the reaction of the crowd. these are the things that, people don't think of. And people take advantage of the ratings as well. They say, oh, we got this rating. So that means, it's going to have this, this, and that. So come out and see it. And the reason why we say this, and this is there is a biopic, well, I wouldn't say biopic, it's sort of a fictional tale done by an actress with a Spanish accent, and she planned there. Her name is Ana de Armas, and she's playing Marilyn Monroe, and it's a Netflix original, and it's been slapped with an NC-17. I'm going to read a little bit of this into Bounding into Comics. Slade Hale is the writer on this. In a move some are seen as an attempt to create buzz before its impending release, Netflix decided to slap the upcoming fictional biopic Blondie with the dreaded NC-17 rating that has many, including the lead actress Ana de Armas, wondering why.
Hold it! What the hell is that shit?
Armas did an interview with the French magazine L'Officiel where she revealed how puzzled she was over the decision to slap such a rating on the film. I didn't understand why that happened. I can tell you a number of shows or movies that are way more explicit with a lot more sexuality content than Blondie. I can too tell you that. She continued, but to tell this story is more important to show the moments in Marilyn's life that made her end up the way she did. I needed to be explained. Everyone in the cast knew we had to go into uncomfortable places. I wasn't the only one. According to some reports, the film may or may not have cut out a rape scene present in Joyce Carol Oates' original novel, but even if managed to survive the final cut, it doesn't explain the NC-17 rating. After all, many prominent films over the last decades have shown brutal rape scenes without tipping the scales over anything over beyond an R rating. Yeah, I remember, what was that Jodie Foster movie where she's raped on a pinball machine? That whole trial and everything behind that. Let's see. Let's go down the line just a little bit. Let's see. Miss 45. There's a couple of Charles Bronson death wishes where there are rapes in it. We can go on and on and on. Nevertheless, that didn't stop director Andrew Dominik from lashing out at critics of the rather in an interview with Screen Daily, complete with vulgar language to drive home his point. It is a demanding movie. If the audience doesn't like it, that's the fucking audience problem. Well, you got to respect the audience. If they don't like the biopic, they don't like it, plain and simple. It seems the trend of attacking the customer continues a space in Hollywood circles. Of course, it does. It's not running for public office, the director continues. It's an NC-17 movie about Marilyn Monroe. It's the kind of movie you want, right? I want to go and see an NC-17 version of the Marilyn Monroe story. Netflix own trailer for the film shows an NC-17 rating at the end, yet gives no reason beyond rather tame sounding, some sexual content. Typical modern movie rates tend to be more descriptive when it comes to potentially offensive content. Let me ask this. Have you guys ever seen a rating line, really? There's not too much ratings in most of their movies. They'll give it like, adult situations, which they normally is. But they don't really, Netflix and most of the other sites don't delve into the ratings line. Some of them have it, but most of them don't. He then let the cat out of the bag when he talked about the real reason why Blondie was greenlit, the contribution of the #MeToo movement. He claimed that the film could not have been made without the controversial and short-lived moment because nobody was interested in that sort of shit. What's it like to be an unloved girl, or what's it like to go through the Hollywood meat grinder. This is an ironic statement from a guy working in Hollywood, a house known for its routinely covering up of abuse of women and also men at the hands of rich and powerful media moguls like Harvey Weinstein, who praised the godly talents of guys like Roman Polanski, who once drugged and draped and sodomized a 13-year-old girl and was still to this day not held accountable for it. For its part, the Me Too movement has become embroiled in multiple scandals during its short lifespan. It refused to call out Virginia Democrat Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax over a sexual assault allegation in 2019, while cheering U.S. President Joe Biden, despite several women accusing him of the same. The movement finally met its demise when actor Johnny Depp successfully won his defamation lawsuit against his ex-wife, completely upending its entire ideological narrative. Whatever the case, it feels as if Blondie NC-17 rating is more than an attempt to generate manufacturer controversy, which that's what I believe, before the release, which understandably given what horrible shape Netflix is in. The company has embraced radical wokeness to its own detriment, which caused the share prices to collapse from $588 per share to just over a year ago, $232 as of this writing. And this is correct. Netflix has been on the down run. Understand that. And the thing is that, they're going to do everything in their power, try to drive people in. Do you know how you get people to come to you? Number one, stop jacking your prices. Number two, stop overspending with all this wokeness and stuff like that on there. It doesn't work for you. You've learned about a dozen times that it doesn't work. People don't want to see it. You have it in your numbers. You know it. The other half is, do products that the people do want to see. When it deals with anime, when you have anime on there, do simulcasts week to week. Don't wait to drop the whole thing at one time. You don't have to do it with everything, but simulcast works out well. It keeps the fans on top of your site week to week. It doesn't hurt. I understand in some cases, it does, after a couple of weeks, it brings it back up again, but it's not going to hold people on there. I no longer subscribe to Netflix, and one of the major reasons is simulcasting. The other half is the way they've treated some of the anime, some of the animation, and some of the movies that have been there as well. The other half is the price, $20. $20 a month. In this day when food prices are high, energy prices are high, gas prices are high, shouldn't be jacking up the prices. I'm already freaking pissed off that Hulu's going to charge me $1 more starting in October. And people say, well, it's just $1. It's not. It's the matter of the fact that they're going to raise their prices. I was paying $7 a month. Now I'm going to be paying $8 a month. Where does it stop? Where does it stop? The thing, you're trying to put a value in and you're losing money. You're losing money on this end, but then you screw your customers on the other end by jacking the prices. And then you expect them to show up when you say, oh, we got a movie. It's going to be a rape scene with Marilyn Monroe, NC-17, da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. That's not what I want to hear. If you said, well, we got a fictional story about Marilyn Monroe, there is adult situations in this. It's a very strong, powerful message that's in there. Different story. Here, you're just throwing it all over the place, and then you insult the audience, the customers. If they don't like it, well, it's not for them. Well, who did you make it for? Again, here's the thing we always keep mentioning: Who did you make it for? That's the constant question we keep asking. People say, well, you're racist because you're saying this. Oh, you're an Istaphobe. Oh, you're part of white supremacy and this and that. Da, 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 da. You're a MAGA. Da, 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 da. I'm getting tired of this. And this is why we say we're here. We're part of a revolution now. We're independent producers here. Whether we're on YouTube, Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, we're putting out our own product. We're creating our own product to put it out to you. We're not going the way of the corporations. We're doing it ourselves. We got a Saturday show coming out, a couple of hours of the classic cartoons and our Rabbit T. Rabbit classic show, all in one bundle on Odyssey. On Saturday, like toward about 11 a.m. It's like a two and a half hour slot on there. Some fun and all that. And the other half is that we got Saturday Pre-Flight that's going to be doing the same thing on Odyssey as well, for that reason. And the only reason why we're not using YouTube on that, but for those of you on YouTube that like to stay on YouTube, we will have a light version of these shows that will be coming out. In fact, if you're not watching this week, we got the Man Man Cafe return this past weekend. We have Man Man Cafe Light, which has a couple of clips from the show. It's a couple of things that we talked about, and there's a full version available over on Odyssey. This is what we have to do to stay in people's minds. The fights that we have to do, because certain sites don't help. They say they help, but they don't. And this goes the same thing for Netflix. This goes the same thing for Hulu and Disney and all that. I'd rather use a free site or go to the high seas, which I don't recommend. I don't condone all that stuff, than to pay $20 a month to a company that's not giving me what I want. You're insulting the customer and you're overcharging the customer. This is people taking advantage of the situations. Hollywood is crashing down. They are practically in embers right now. You're seeing studios crop up throughout the country. Most of them are on the East Coast. You have independent firms that are building up, whether it's in the film industry, broadcast, comic book industry, go through it all over the place, because we are tired of what the corporate elite has done. And now we're fighting back. So please comment below and tell me how your feelings of this situation. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.